shallow. But what was curious about the Roman level is that there are wooden sarcophagi, and they have the painted faces of the person who passed away. And apparently those are among the oldest realistic paintings of humans. And so that's interesting, and all of that is in the Kfi Museum. And you can see that well documented online. And but there's some serious things about the site because Kfi says, oh, you don't want to dig there because there's a canal over the top and the canal has leaks. And so therefore, it's just going to be a mess down there. And so in a way, he was protecting the site by telling people not to go.
He didn't want people to go. How deep are those sites?
Well, the stuff that we found, the bottom level is, one level is 60 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, and the other one's 130.
That is amazing.
Yeah, you look at that little video.
Yeah, but covered with that much? I mean,
yeah.
How did he get so engulfed in being buried?
Well, until we go excavate, and we don't know if we're getting permits or not just yet, it's kind of hard to tell how that construction would have suspended one layer above the other. We don't know if it's in the bedrock or how it would be there. So the Roman layer, of course, was shallow, and the Ptolemaic was a little bit deeper. So in 2008, they did some ground-penetrating radar tests and resistivity, but that was by laying cables on the sand and putting the electrical currents down through. And those scans came up at 5 to 12 meters. And it looked like there were anomalies. So you see the image with the greenish blob. And you can also see the canal. And you can see Petrie's, the site from his ancient text and how it corresponds to Google Earth. And what he saw, if you're looking at those pictures, you can see to the south of the pyramid, he's noted that there were granite pillars and pavement underneath, and that part of the earth is quite, or the sand is quite disturbed because he was digging as deep as he could, and he was coming up with chips and sifting them, and he found quite a bit of stuff down there. So there is an open air museum to the east of the pyramid, and the pyramid itself is 46 meters high.
Carmen, did you find that area to be safe?
Yes, you mean Egypt in general?
Mm-hmm. When you were there?
Well, you know, I've been there 29 times, and I always find it to be such a relief to go there because, you know, they don't know what we're saying about Muslim people here, and that we're, you know, the all demonization of all things Middle Eastern.
But they treat you well?
Absolutely, and you get there, and it's just such a relief because you don't have all that propaganda. It lifts. And so we stayed like a block away from Tahrir Square, and it's got a wonderful energy now. Like, I'm quite impressed how they've cleaned it all up, and they put a nice monument, and you can just feel the empowerment of the people. It just really emanates.
That's amazing. It's amazing how it gets distorted here.
Yes. I find it quite disturbing because it's a real relief, because even though I'm not watching mainstream media, you still get that kind of overlay. And I noticed that right away, so it's a real relief to be there. People are extroverted and very, very happy.
Is it safer there than Baltimore, for example?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
It's amazing. Now, the Nile River, how close was it to those sites? It's quite a ways away, isn't it?
Well, you can see on the second picture that I found it on Google Earth because the team that had been there before had driven there, so they didn't have the GPS coordinates. And so I kind of did a needle in a haystack, and that's why those two pictures are there, one out of the book of Flinders Petrie and one right off Google Earth. But Google Earth actually has a ruler that has it measures distances. And so it is 30 kilometers from the Nile. So when you think about the points made in the Pyramid Code, you know, that the Sphinx itself is 8 miles from the Nile. So the Nile most certainly would have gone in front of the Sphinx in the ancient times.
Right.
Well, how long does it take for the Nile to have migrated 8 miles? Well, this is 30 kilometers. You know, that's really far. So to me, that speaks of extreme extreme antiquity.
What do you think happened to make that happen?
To make it distant? Oh, that's just natural.
Yeah.
But it's just in terms of, we don't think in terms of these long time frames. You know, school and everything wants us to be 5,000 years old. You know, the Quran, all of that. And so when we think of this extreme antiquity, it's really hard for us to wrap our brains around it. But I think we need to start thinking in those terms. And so, as I said, it's the depth. It's the distance from the Nile and the depth that is speaking to the extreme antiquity here.
Tell me this,
and the high-level technology as well.
Tell me the significance of this discovery.
Well, if we keep talking about what's down there and how deep it is and how big it is, the area in question, well, first of all, it's space archaeology that helped me find it. And
which is fantastic.
Well, and it's really cutting edge. So I met Klaus Donna speaking at the Bosnian Pyramids at the Hidden Mysteries Conference a couple of years ago. And he was telling me about the kinds of things that they've been able to do with this space technology. And so it seems to be unique. So they're using live satellite scans, same as Google Earth. But what they've done is they've applied a program, software, that's quantum physics, and of course it's satellite-based, but it's so high definition. But the thing is that it can differentiate between bone, precious metals, precious jewels, oil, gas, water, pottery, and space anomalies, just like empty space. And so each scan has a different signature for the different element. But this, and it's measuring longitudinal waves and using technically Maxwell's equation. But the closest thing colloquially that we have is barcodes on things at the grocery store. It's light that's being programmed in. And so what this scan can do is it can go 6 kilometers down into the earth, but what most other scans cannot do is look through. This can look through things. And so most of the time, if you're doing this penetration, ground penetrating radar, you hit an item, and that's it. That's as far as you go. You can't look through things. And so this is just astonishing what we found down there and the size of it. And so the area in question is 107 acres, which is 81 football fields.
I know. That's huge.
It's huge. And so 5 of the rooms are bigger than Olympic-sized swimming pools. This is like burying an airport. And I don't think that it was at the surface and that all that sand accumulated over the top over time. I think it was meant to be underground.
From the get-go.
From the get-go.
That's incredible engineering, especially then.
Well, the whole thing is totally mind-boggling. It's really hard to wrap your brain around it.
What do you think they used these chambers for?
Well, let's talk about that, because, it's going to be pure speculation, and what we've got with the scan is what I call a hypothesis, okay? Could be, but this test is really reliable, and there's a lot of validity to it based on other applications that they've used it for, largely from governments, that would say, well, we need to find, diamonds. So they found diamond mines in Brunei, and they found gold in Bolivia, and they've even found 2 underground rivers in California recently. I think they said it was 170 meters deep, and they can tell the water flow and the exact depth. And so time after time after time, they're coming up that the scan is being verified by people going into the field. X marks the spot, and they're finding what the scan is saying. And so this is considered now, they're calling it spooky accurate. So if we really are going to see this hypothesis as reliable and valid, then, we really have to consider why these rooms would have been as big as they are, and why there's so many of them. So there's a total of 82 chambers.
82, that is a lot.
That's a lot. It's 6 of them. Well, 5 of them are bigger than Olympic-sized swimming pools, but one is almost as big.
How would you get to each chamber? Are they all interconnected?
Well, that's the thing. If you really look at the scan, the blue level, which is the upper of the two, it looks like blocks that are as big as the farmer's field kind of beside it. And they're not connected. And the other thing that's not connected, if you look at the scan, the 3D animation that's in that little video, you can look clear underneath the levels. You can look clear underneath the canal. And so there's no, I call it snakes and ladders, going between the two levels. It's not like a tomb like Kfi 55, Ramsey's tomb, that's vast, 75 rooms that go up and down. So to me, it speaks to two, and then another construction, that they seem just the way the Ptolemaic and the Roman are at different levels, and older is deeper. It strikes me, by really spending a lot of time looking at this stuff, that they're separate and they may be different time frames. Now, on the west side of the canal, there's another construction that has these narrow passageways and smaller chambers, and there's 1.5 kilometers of passageways, the narrow passageways. So I'm not really sure what to make.
Do you think did people live there?
No, I think it's like Göbekli Tepe, where that there's nothing indicating that anybody lived there, and there's 22 temples, and they've only excavated 2, I think, but they don't find any kinds of pottery or nothing. And so it seems that these rooms haven't been opened in a long time. So even Herodotus in 450 BC said he got into the blue level. I call it blue and red because that's the color of the scan. But he never got into the red level, and so he's just hearing stories from other people who did. Now, because they can see whether there's gold or not, there are 6 rooms on both levels with gold. So I don't know if it's on the walls or if it's actual artifacts. And so, I mean, it sounds like they haven't been opened in a long time.
Now, if Zahi Hawass were still around, would he even let you in there, Herman?
Well, curiously, he hasn't been there. And he thinks, of course, there's nothing there. But did you see that videotape of the so-called debate between him and
No.
Graham Hancock?
I didn't see that. Well, I heard about it. That's the one where he walked out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that actually, the reason that they were there on April 24th at Mena House was because Zahi is on the schedule to go to this site with Graham Hancock. And then they were going to come back to Mena House, and they booked this conference room to have a debate. And my understanding was that it was about this site. And so when Graham put his first slide up and it had the Belt of Orion, Zahi really took issue because that's Robert Bauval's theory, and he just wouldn't hear anything of it because of other issues with the 3 people that are in jail because of the scraping of the graffiti in the relieving chambers of the Great Pyramid.
Well, I never knew I had Martians in my garden, and I never knew there were aliens on my roof. I got shadow people, and they're living in my basement. Got a funny feeling Bigfoot's gonna be here soon. I was so blind before, I was so unaware, but now I swear I'm seeing Sasquatch over there. I turned on my radio in the middle of the night, and I heard things I need to know. Now I can see the light, and I also see a ghost, 'cause I'm listening to Coast to Coast. Well, you never knew that your baby was a hybrid, but as he grew, you began to see the clue. Now you know the song. signs, 'cause you learned it from George Norrie. Even while you sleep, you've got Martians watching you. I turned on my radio in the middle of the night, and I heard things I need to know. And I can see the light, and I also see a ghost. 'Cause I'm listening to Coast to Coast. Good morning or good evening, wherever you may be, whichever world you're living in, whatever century, your voice is always welcome here on my radio. Call in with your SIM transmitter or your telephone. I turned on my radio in the middle of the night, and I heard things I need to know. Now I can see the light, and I also see a ghost. 'Cause I'm listening to Coast to Coast. 'Cause I'm listening to Coast to Coast.
For Dan Galante, Tom Danheiser, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Madasur, Ryan Stacy, Stephanie Smith, Chris Burrows, Tim Bernal, George Knapp, and Ian Punnett, I'm George Norrie, somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe, everyone.
Woman tells the true story of Georgia Durrani, all-American girl, world-famous model, and getaway driver for the mob. Wheel Woman takes you on a thrilling ride through the unlikely life of one beautiful, smart, fascinating woman.
The rules were simple. Don't talk to anyone. Don't ask questions. Always park a block away. Make sure you're not being followed.
Listen to Wheel Woman on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by DuckDuckGo. Search, browse, and email privately, all for free with the DuckDuckGo app.
As parents, we've done everything possible to protect our kids from COVID-19, from using hand sanitizers to masking up. But now we have the most important tool, vaccines. They help protect our children and the entire family. And it's okay to have questions. Ask your doctor about the COVID-19 vaccine for your child, or visit vaccinateall58.com to learn more and find a vaccine near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Every 3 seconds, there's a new victim of identity theft. A criminal could be spending your money, applying for loans in your name, even selling your personal information on the dark web. Everyday activities like online shopping, banking, even data breaches may expose your information, making it dangerously easy to have your identity stolen. Unfortunately, watching your accounts or monitoring your credit, that may not be enough. But protecting your identity, that can be easy with LifeLock, a leader in identity theft protection. LifeLock monitors threats to your identity, and if an issue is detected, it sends you an alert. And if you're a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist works to fix it. No one can prevent all ID theft or monitor every transaction at every business, but LifeLock by Norton makes it easy. Call 800-LifeLock, promo code HANDLE, or visit lifelock.com, promo code HANDLE for 25% off. lifelock.com, promo code HANDLE, 800-LifeLock.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Heard any of our secret mind control hidden messages recently? No? That's because we're really good at it.
KFI.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Keep those masks handy. I'm Brian Bruman, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The LA County Health Department says at the current rate of COVID-19 transmission, people may have to wear masks again indoors.
The county's currently at the medium risk per the CDC, but if the 7-day transmission rate goes above 10 cases per 100,000 residents, or if 10% of hospital patients are being treated for the virus, then the county will move into the CDC's high transmission category, and health officials say that would force them to re-implement the mask mandate for indoor gatherings and retail businesses, including restaurants. Health Director Barbara Ferrer says at the current pace, she expects the county to move up to high risk by the end of this month. Steve Gregory, KFI News.
A man who stabbed 2 nurses and a doctor at Encino Medical Center has been taken into custody.
Police say the man who stabbed the 3 staff members has been arrested twice in the past for assaulting police officers. The man allegedly walked into the hospital demanding medication before the stabbing yesterday. This man who lives in Encino says the area is becoming more dangerous.
We've been here for about 5 years. I would say it's definitely progressively become less and less safe.
SWAT teams were on scene for hours before taking the man into custody. The 3 staff members who were stabbed have been taken to another hospital. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
President Biden says there's been a lot of talk between the White House and Congress over gun violence.
My staff is dealing as we're dealing constantly with every member of the House and Senate who's wanted to talk about guns. It's been a constant interchange.
Biden says he's ready to do anything he can to push real progress. Biden made a primetime speech this past week asking lawmakers to take action to stop gun violence across the U.S. Former White House advisor Peter Navarro has been arrested and indicted by a federal grand jury on 2 counts of contempt of Congress. Navarro had refused to participate in the House Select Committee's investigation into the January 6th attack.
He faces 2 counts. One for refusing to testify before the congressional committee that's investigating the attack on January 6th, and the second for refusing to turn over documents that the committee had subpoenaed. Both of those counts carry a maximum sentence of up to a year in prison and a fine of up to $100,000.
ABC's Mary Alice Park says Navarro was arrested yesterday. Drivers in rural areas of the U.S. say they're paying too much for gas. Lake Tahoe, Nevada resident Ted Kelly says he's never spent this much to fill up his truck.
38 gallons at $9.99 came out to $388.60 or something like that. I mean, it's shocking.
Experts say there are several factors contributing to higher prices in rural areas. Some stations sell less gas, so they adjust their prices accordingly, and others hike prices because there's less competition. And the demand for one game console keeps going up.
Sony has been having a good last couple of years. The video game giant has sold over 20 million PS5 units. Since the company released the 5th generation of the PlayStation, it's had a couple roadblocks with supply chain issues, with chips, and finding a PS5 in stores has become more and more challenging. Despite the shortage, gamers continue to buy the console online faster than any previous PlayStation. Sony has decided to increase the production of the console this year so that everyone who wants one can get one. And fun fact, the brand's tagline is "Play has no limits." Andrew Caravella, KFI News.
Maybe some of you have been waiting about 30 years for this one. Disney's Hocus Pocus 2 has a premiere date. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy, who played the original Sanderson sisters in the Witch flick, are set to return for the sequel. The film is expected to premiere on Disney Plus September 30th, just in time for Halloween. The original movie was filmed in Salem, Massachusetts in 1993. Now taking a look at KFI traffic, we have got a crash on the 10.
West Covina on the eastbound side of the 10 at Barranca. It's a fatal crash investigation here. Only the carpool lane is open. It's got you jammed back to Azusa Avenue. Westbound side of the 10 between Vincent and Pacific as you head through West Covina. We've had all lanes shut down by Caltrans overnight. They're in the process of reopening at least the left lane there, but the right lanes will remain shut down throughout the weekend. And you are seeing delays there from Azusa as well. And in the Cajon Pass on the northbound side of the 15, Kenwood to Cleghorn, it's 3 left lanes that are closed by Caltrans backed up before the 215. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robert Tabucky.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. So, you're ready to build your dream kitchen. Okay, what's your first move? I'm going to say it should be a totally free in-showroom consultation with my friends at the Kitchen Store. That means you get 2 things right out of the gate. The creativity and the wisdom of an expert kitchen designer while you're being flooded with inspiration in the Kitchen Store's 7,000 square foot cabinet design showroom. The Kitchen Store is right off the 405 in Culver City, and for more than 50 years it has been the best place for kitchen cabinets in all of Southern California. State-of-the-art computer design, 12-month, same as cash financing, and pricing that beats the big box home centers. So start your new kitchen right. Set up your free consultation today by dialing 310-KITCHEN. That's 310-KITCHEN.
And check out the kitchen store on the web at 310kitchen.com.
Southland weather from KFI, low clouds and fog, then sunny by the afternoon, mid to upper 60s at the beaches, low to upper 70s in metro LA and OC, mid 70s to low 80s in the inland valleys, and low to mid 80s in the Inland Empire. Right now it's 61 degrees in San Clemente, 63 in Brea, 62 in Sherman Oaks, and 61 in Pasadena. We Lead Local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Brian Bruman.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Good Saturday morning to you, my early rising friend. Look at you. You're all up before the sun. It's a Saturday morning, and you're awake, and you're up, and that is awesome. Welcome home. I'm Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer, custom home builder, custom home designer. Join me, why don't you? Because, you know, everybody else is asleep, so you might as well. Tina, my better half, my design partner, my buddy.
Good morning.
She's here, and that she's smiling at me, so it probably means we should start. She is way too tired to even comment on that. So, all right, we'll give you another 15 minutes, and then you'll have to say something, you know, snappy. All right. Let's get to it, shall we? We've done programs before on appliances. Yes, of course we have. Most of the time, when I talk to you about appliances, it's some update as to what's the latest and greatest that's out, what has changed in the world of appliances, and so on. And it struck me a couple of weeks ago that we have never actually talked, you and I, about one of the most important facets of appliances as it regards your remodel, and that is the choice of appliances for your kitchen remodel specifically, the positioning of them, and the way that you plan around specific appliances. There's an art and a science to it, and it goes way beyond just, oh, I want that stove, I want that fridge, and I want that cooktop and dishwasher, and boom, there you go. If we really want them to be integrated into the best possible design for the kitchen, then there are some rules to follow, and there are some tips and tricks that I want to hand you today that can make all the difference in the world, okay? So that's where we're going. We're going to discuss the rules of appliances, setting them into your home. Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to try this. These are the rules. Wow, that actually worked pretty good. Okay, general design issues. Why are most appliances stainless steel? First of all, let's just ask that question. Is it just a popular thing? Is it a trend? Is it a fad? If it's a fad, it has lasted for decades. So I don't think we can call it a fad. There's a reason why most appliances are stainless steel. No, it's not because it's easier to make them that way. It comes down to this. Of course, there is a nod to an executive industrial kitchen, and people really like that kind of feel. That, you know, you see something in stainless steel, and you're like, look, this is a professional stove. This is a professional cooktop, you see? Of course, there's always that nod. But there's another reason why most appliances are stainless steel, and it's this: color and trim matching in a kitchen. Okay?
When you have stainless steel, you have a couple of options. One, a stainless steel appliance isn't lonely all by itself, but it can hook up design-wise with things like stainless steel faucets and other stainless steel appliances, even if they're not the same brand. Because brushed stainless, even across most brands, is close enough in its tint and tone to be able to make the kitchen and make all the appliances seem unitized. But color and trim matching, most appliances that are stainless steel are basically a stainless steel plus black glass, black interior, something like that. And so you get this theme going, and it's easy to plug them into a general theme in the kitchen. Also, brushed stainless doesn't really fight against most cabinet colors and most accessory colors because it's just sort of a neutral gray metal in that regard. The other reason, and I think I just mentioned it, is if you're going with painted appliances, and by the way, there's absolutely nothing wrong with painted appliances. And in certain situations, there's nothing wrong with a combination of painted appliance, one painted appliance, and others that might be stainless steel. We can get into that later if you want to talk about that. But painted appliances typically means that you're sticking with one brand, because although brushed stainless is pretty much consistent across the board, paint colors, not. One manufacturer's white, not the same. Maytag's white, not the same as GE's white, not the same as Wolf's white, not the same as Samsung's white. Not at all, not even close. And so stainless steel is the most ubiquitous appliance color because it's easiest to work with in as far as design flexibility. Now, that's not me saying that's what you should go with. I'm just explaining this so that you understand that you've got more flexibility. If you're going to have a white faucet, you've got to be very careful to make sure that your white appliances, if you can see them both in one view, are syncing up in tone and texture, and it's not always that easy to do. All right. That being said, the ground rules being laid there as far as just style of appliance, and that's about all I'm going to talk about today in regards to style of individual appliances. I want to get into how we set and how we should plan to set specific appliances in your kitchen. And when we come back, we're going to start with the big mama of them all, the largest appliance in your kitchen, the refrigerator. Also, the least often properly integrated into a kitchen. I don't know if you've noticed, but they stick out. They're ugly as sin most of the time, and they can ruin an otherwise really beautiful kitchen redesign. That's where we're going next. I'm so glad you joined me this morning. So much more to come. You're listening to Home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. Let's hear the news.
I'm Brian Berman, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. LA City Councilman Joe Buscaino has introduced a motion to ban homeless encampments near libraries, and that's as motions have already begun banning camping near schools. The leader of the La Luz del Mundo evangelical megachurch has pleaded guilty to sex charges against minors. And Metro is offering free bus and train rides on Tuesday to encourage voting in the primary election. We're going to have a look at some trouble on the 10 next.
Hey, all, it's Dean Sharp. Hey, I want to tell you about the good folks at Aldic Home. Sure, you know them as the ultimate store for all things Christmas trees and holiday decor. But that's because Aldic is the unrivaled masters of lifelike silk flowers, custom-designed decorative trees, and amazing one-of-a-kind accessories that complete those finishing touches in your home. And did you also know that Aldic Home carries luxurious custom outdoor furniture? More than 20 different lines and settings of Summer Classics outdoor furniture. Aldic only gives you the very best, and Summer Classics is the perfect furniture to create that welcoming space on your patio. Now that the warmer weather is in sight, it's time to think about spending more time outdoors with the fam. Start it off with a trip to Aldic Home. You'll find Aldic on Sepulveda Boulevard in Van Nuys and on the web at aldichome.com. That's ALDIK home.com.
Taking a look at KFI traffic, we are going back to this crash on the 10.
In West West Covina, it's the fatal crash investigation on the eastbound side of the 10, just past Barranca. Only the carpool lane has been open here. That's got you jammed back to 4 Citrus. On the westbound side of the 10, Vincent to Pacific, Caltrans still working to reopen the left lanes here. They've had all lanes shut down overnight. Right lanes will stay shut down throughout the weekend, but the left lanes should be open shortly. Watch for heavy delays starting at Citrus on the westbound side as well. And in the Cajon Pass on the northbound side of the 15, Kenwood to Cleghorn, 3 left lanes still shut down by Caltrans. That's got you back up before the 215 merge. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robert Kabucky.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has your workplace covered with furniture and organizational items curated by Staples Work From Home Style Squad. Now get 25% off storage and filing products, chair mats, decor, and lighting with the purchase of a desk or office chair. In-store only offer N72. Staples, the working and learning store.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you're eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's exactly why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. We are specialists in this little-known payroll tax refund program. GetRefunds.com does all the work, charges not a dime up front, and simply shares a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those who took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. The team at GetRefunds.com has returned over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to GetRefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. That's GetRefunds.com. No risk, high reward. GetRefunds.com.
Sean Cobelt here. Listen, I'm not going to tell you that your garage door looks hideous, but we know what your neighbors are thinking. That's why you ought to call Caliber Garage Door today. They're new to KFI. They've been in business for more than 20 years. They have custom wood doors, traditional steel doors, a variety of materials, colors, and trim. You want it, Caliber has it. Here's the deal, $200 off any garage door, and doors starting at just $7.99. Dial pound 250 on your cell phone right now and say Caliber Garage Doors. Pound 250, say Caliber Garage Doors, CaliberGarageDoors.com.
On abortion and guns, the leading candidates for California Attorney General are very different. Eric Early is a conservative Republican, pro-Trump, pro-guns, and pro-life. Democrat Rob Bonta is fighting the NRA and supports abortion rights. If you care about Roe versus Wade, remember to vote early before the June 7th election for Attorney General. Ad paid for by Communities for Justice, supporting Rob Bonta for Attorney General 2022. Committee major funding from California Correctional Peace Officers Association. Not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if the prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. Love your results.